Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's presentation. Today's episode will be relating to cryptocurrency investments with a specific focus on Solana. So we'll cover today this digital landscape that is continuously evolving, and with spotlight on Solana, we'll go through one of the most hyped cryptocurrency of lately, and we will just discover what is price action telling us all about. Solana was making waves back in the beginning of November. Right now we need to really dissect two things. As seasoned investors are well aware, every surge in value often comes with the potential for a drawdown, and it's this delicate balance between risk and reward that we'll explore in today's in-depth episode. So we will just cover the fundamentals in order to comprehend the things we are just sitting at right now better, along with sentiment and macroeconomy as well. So there is a deep dive in order to make you aware of what's going on in Solana and whether it's the right time to buy. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are just right now jumping to our first element. So what can we expect from a token right now? So Solana hailed for its high throughput and low transaction costs and captured the attention of many seeking to capitalize on the next big thing in the crypto space right now. Solana is, after this enormous gains back in 2021, gaining traction, and this exactly momentum that has brought us here may even push us to its prior highs, to its all-time highs overall. So however, there are some red alerts I wanted to discuss at first, and we'll just focus on the short and medium-term time horizon, not on the long term, but about that we'll mainly talk about. So we are just right now jumping to first, how does it work? So let's quickly go through the Solana's square number one, what's going on right underneath. But if you are just watching this live, you may just wondering about popping some interesting questions, or even if you are just a novice in this crypto sphere, you may just pop the things that you are the most just what I know about, and I will get back to this as soon as I will find a moment in the transmission to relate. All right, so let's find out right here. I just make the change as right now everything is not very visible, so this laser pointer should be a little bit better for your finding out what I'm just pointing at. So Solana transaction flow in the network looks like this. We have transactions that are going into the leader, then there is a state. So this Solana protocol is designed to facilitate decentralized app creation, and it aims to improve scalability by introducing a proof of history consensus combined with the underlying proof of stake consensus of the blockchain. So it all goes through this mechanism consensus, and the transactions within which that are contributing to this decentralized app are going through this whole spectrum of Solana network. So a foundational element within the Solana protocol, this proof of history, an arrangement of computations that establishes the digital record affirming the occurrence of events on the network at any given moment, and after it has been going through the another states, it going through the verifier that right after are making the state getting back to a leader. So it this mechanism consensus really relies on a Tower Byzantine fault tolerance. That's algorithm within a proof of stake framework presenting an optimized iteration of the practical PBFT. That's another very technical phrase, but if we would like to just make it a little bit more easier, so Solana utilizes this approach of BFT to achieve consensus with the Tower BFT serving as a crucial element in upholding network security and functionality, acting as an additional mechanism for transaction validation. So Solana is basing on a couple of mechanism consensus that making this network really reliable and making it still transparent for the users. So validators within the Solana network leverage the sequence of hashes to record specific pre-existing data before the generation of a designated hash index, and that everything makes the things that we can easily track the elements that are going through the network without the double spending effect. However, there was some blackouts back in the history, so those kind of a disturbances are occurring from time to time for Solana. That's why I do find that what we also will cover in a moment, that this structure is not as safe as it should be, as it's one being compared to the Ethereum one. So if we just head through the elements that have been just introduced on Solana, we are so aside of the structure itself, we are going through the difficult elements still yet introduced, and with latest months we can find that this pace of growth has only got accelerated, and this October was very hectic inside of the development standpoint. So we can find that there were many integrations such as Yellow Card, that App African exchange added support for USDC on Solana blockchain. Yellow Card is one of the greatest startup in the previous in this former year, former decade in Africa continent, and right now it's tossing its few cents into the Solana blockchain. Right after we had also very important Coinbase custody that's supporting GTSOL. This unlocks secure custody for the fastest growing MEF powered liquid staking token on Solana. So there is kind of a indirect cooperation between Coinbase and Solana. Also that I wanted to point out is that one, Solana Labs opens applications to the Solana Incubator program. That's very important, aiming to create the next great company in Web3. So they are betting for future, and they are just dissecting the endeavors to make the Solana ecosystem stronger along with the time passing by. And the one of the two Solana the nodes are now available for deployment on Amazon Web Services, and Google's BigQuery integration with Solana is now live. So we can find that Solana is becoming the real part of this large ecosystem of fintech, and that's what the large brands will seek for when joining the crypto space. Those most renowned and most reliable brands out there, and I do find that those elements that I would just have pointed out holding a pivotal role for the Solana next months to thrive. But to not be as too optimistic, in the 2022 Solana, despite some headwinds, managed to stay steady, but in terms of development. But right now, even though this DeFi hype is making a setback after months of a turmoil within the industry, still DeFi's applications are not where we were back in 2021. Just look at this. One of the greatest and biggest ecosystems of DeFi on Solana right now are not really having a good time. That's what inevitable to say is that every single of this biggest dApps within the Solana's DeFi's are right now on the transactions drawdown and hitting this all-time lows right now. So there is nothing that I would say there might be a backbone that will give a golden path for the Solana to thrive in the fourth quarter, despite what I would just say in a moment. So liquid staking right now is the one thing that is pushing investors off of the DeFi structures. For instance, liquid staking, that is likely the reason why there has been a large DeFi extinction, even through indirect monetary tightening, creating a risk-free rate, or rather it raised rates of holding if rates from 0.1% to 3 to even 4%. So staking yields are effectively the alpha of crypto. So why deposit, for instance, in Aave and other type of ecosystems such as in Solana are right now getting the yields higher. So what I meant with the Solana is that this liquidity staking derivatives right now technology is giving a chance for Solana to thrive and to giving it a possible boost when it gets converted, when the products will get converted into this type of a solutions. But right now are just the laggard behind this kind of a solutions I just pointed out. So for instance, if you issued debt in TradFi that less than bills, nobody would like to want it right now. As we are right now dealing with this possible environment of lowering interest rates, this environment may even shrink more. But despite of it, there are many DeFi applications inside of the Solana ecosystem that may perform good, and the development activity is right now trying to find the best solutions for the Solana to thrive in the coming months. That's what we expect, showing this development activity that's right now heading back to this very high demand, and with all of this, we can find that community is right now gathered and still thriving, even though this latest months maybe weren't that positive for the ecosystem. We are right now in the right spot to possibly have a great months ahead. But if we just have a look at the earnings that are very oftenly related to the fees inside of the structure, we can find that Solana protocol is right now having its kind of a healthy boost in price. So market cap is right now being pushed by this fees underneath being risen. So we are right now flirting with this $120k dollars level, and with market cap of around $30 billion. But it's still very far from where we back in 2021, and we still have many things to catch up. Also, daily market cap of Solana is soaring, and what you can find right here, this comparison to Avalanche and Algorand setting the Solana ahead of its peers. So there is no denying that there is still very high demand for Solana's solutions, but still we can find that there is nothing really, aside of what I just told right here, that market cap, the market cap right now is somewhat reflecting the earnings, but still there are many things to find that DeFi underneath may not be enough, may not be a decentralized killer app of other blockchains that may eventually push the valuation higher. So there is also other thing that right now is poking investors, and that's token unlocks, and also as referred to this, stake deposits and withdrawals out of the FTX exchange. So as you have probably heard of the problems of FTX and Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried, we can find that the FTX was one of the largest investors in Solana project. And right now, it's estimated that FTX staked around 5.5 million of Solana, valued at around $22 million. So there is still, with this liquidation process of FTX that's supposedly will eventually develop, we have many of millions of tokens of Solana yet to get dumped on the market. But as we have even get unloaded through the time of recent in November, we have got an unloaded power of FTX token, Solana tokens out of the FTX exchange. We are right now still in this upward trajectory. So what does it mean? It means that the demand far is overtaking the supply, and that means there is a very much power that cannot really thwart this boost tendency to push the price of Solana token higher. So right now, this type of a unloading of Solana tokens haven't been a element that have posed a real threat for the industry of Solana ecosystem, and that's still giving us a hope that there might be a much far more extended credence into this ecosystem. Aside of it, we can find that we are expecting inflation to not rise as much as it was back in 2021, so it may eventually put the token in favor of both as well. So the inflation is expected to be much lower than it was during the latest bull market. So that's also a kind of a something that is posing a reward for token holders. In terms of GSOL, what's the GSOL? Grayscale Solana Investment Trust. So that's a kind of a analog to Ethereum Grayscale and Bitcoin Grayscale Investment Trust. So recently we've seen that Solana gained an institutions demand that has shifted from Ethereum. However, right now we can find that it's a kind of a one leg of a strict slump in terms of a demand for the token. So what does it mean? So this factor right now that I wanted to just put out is that those institutional investors are right now finding a kind of a problems with regulatory approach. There are some threats that Solana may become a security token, and investment seeks to provide investors a even though this GSOL is trying to provide investors with a cost-effective and convenient way to invest in Solana tokens, right now we can find that there is kind of a problem with the structure, this investment products itself. So there are many like accusations that the price of GSOL, such as GBTC, is just a one-way ticket. There's a literally no way out of those products. If you're just investing in them, there is a very narrow window when we can escape. So right now, GBTC such as GSOL are trading at a discount for about a year, and that may change with this ETF introduction somewhere in 2024 expectedly. So right now this GSOL is not maybe posing a real threat on the ecosystem of Solana, but I don't find that it's rather what we should find that it may continue its outflow of funds with this supposedly new regulatory framework coming in, and then launching ETFs that may eventually give us another more regulatory certainty in terms of how and where we could invest our funds at. So maybe you have heard, if you have been into the Solana ecosystem, so Venek, one of the greatest investment company, have just got let out its report about Solana investment, that they have expected that Solana will be traded at around $3,200 by 2030. So it's absolutely crushing investment trajectory, and that will eventually push the Solana interest even more, even though those Solana's projections were overshooted to some extent. So the more activity right now is within a blockchain of Solana network, the greater chance that eventually that a price will follow up, and with this kind of a very positive outlook out of the greatest companies out there, on Solana we may have a kind of a perpetual spiral that may eventually push the Solana to new highs. But for now, I do find that Solana cannot really compare to what Ethereum has shown right now, as if we just discover and study this type of a juxtaposition of two blockchains, there is still many things for Solana to catch up, along with not only team and partners, but also with underlying technology that is still overall around 20% lower in every single technological angle from Ethereum one. So ecosystem development is the one to boost up, and also the token economics, even though right now it's not expecting very high inflation, it may eventually still have to be seeking for some more improvements. So this price target of 3,200% may seems like overshooted, and even though we are right now tilting toward optimism with this bull coming closer and closer, I do find such overhyped extension in this report that we just right now are finding out, and we need to be very cautious about it. Right now, as we do know, the macroeconomy is posing a real risk on crypto overall. We need to study the elements together in order to find out where we are sitting right in 2023, in this fourth quarter of 2023. So right in 2023, hopes were dashed that this recession will eventually come up, and those fears may eventually pushed away for 2024. So in 2024 we have this election presidential election year, and that's normally where some anxiety around the markets come over. But before this election takes place, I don't expect that any kind of a shockwaves may eventually widen across the markets, and 2024, the second half of 2024, will become the possible alarming in terms of the possible more difficult events to overcome. However, this graph shows us that soft landing hopes and hard landing realities are dissecting together. Soft landing hopes are right now extending the macroeconomists' point of view on economy, but as we do know that every time where this number of news articles mentioning soft landing has hit the highs right after, within 8 to 16 months we had a recession. Right now we are within this structure of very high volume of the soft landing type of a news, and that may eventually also spark some risk to come. However, the 2024, out of the seasonality and also global liquidity uptrends, should eventually look fine anyway. So this possible this recessionary period may eventually get postponed even to beginning of 2025. As we do know, those elements are overlapping each other. There is central bank liquidity going into a global M2, and then Bitcoin price is reflecting crypto prices and crypto sentiment overall. So the liquidity cycle bottomed back in Q4 2022 as the users of smart contract blockchains and liquidity cycle only, even though impacts the rate of change of adoption right now, it may give us a real assumption that this 2024 should be better, and Solana should thrive. But the one thing I wanted to just point out, aside of what's going underneath the structure, is that technical patterns that's right now posing not very well for Solana. Let's find out Solana to USDT. I'm just wanted to send you to interactive chart. So on technical chart, that's what no one sees literally. On daily chart, when I found on what I found on crypto Twitter, there around 90% of accounts are not really seeing what's going on daily. They're just watching them weekly and monthly candles. But on daily, we have right now get to the point that is not really seen out of the weekly standpoint, and that's the resistance, that's the congestion block that's been built right here in August of 2021, and that may stop the price action at the level of 66 bucks, and that's what exactly is happening right now. 66 has rejected us right here, and with this kind of a not entire but a pointing for engulfing pattern recjection bearish candle, we may have a real troublesome with crossing this recently built highs. So what it means for us is that we need to just steer clear out of the Solana, as especially Bitcoin to USDT right now is heading through a real question mark of whether it may be predicted to move higher, especially with this weekly highs, weekly double top being built, and with this very greed being observed by this hammer candle being built at the top. Very oftenly at the end of the bull runs, this hammer may eventually become a kind of a pivotal or setting a pivotal role for this market reverse. So even though there are some positivity on the market that may score the price action even higher, by it's merely likely a very positive kind of a background. We still need to really reflect to what's going on with the price, and the price is telling just one thing, that after breaking this trend line we are more predestined, and with this double top formation being built, we are more likely to get down to this level of 33.5, and with that being said, we have a very high likelihood of Solana USDT being pushed back to this level of 44 and not going toward 68 first. So right now there will be very important things to study, whether we will be able to get through this 64, but I give it a very low probability in terms of percentage points. Therefore, I do find that this next time for Solana should be on the mark of a bears. So let me know in the comments section below the video what you think about it. I do find that there is still some chance we'll eventually get to new highs, but before it happens we have a few months or just few weeks of just corrective mode ahead. So in terms of open interest weighted, we can find it on Solana. It also doesn't reflect this current price. There are not many buyers aside of what we may find in a mainstream media. Solana is right now not a real hyped blockchain, even though the price is following the upward trend. So it means that there is very high liquidity that may eventually push the price upwards. That's what I wanted to point out. So overall, if I just wanted to recap, Solana is facing both challenges and opportunities as it strives to regain its momentum in the cryptocurrency space with recent positive developments. But when it comes to merely the technical standpoint, I would still clear out of the Solana, and also this DeFi ecosystems side of the structure are posing a threat for its future growth. So I give a Solana a hold rating if you are just holding it for longer, but if you are just thinking of buying it right now, just wait for the pullback. You won't miss anything if you just steer clear out of the investment right now. So it's just a mere warning, and I do find that the whole crypto Twitter is just very loud about where this Solana may go next. But after such of a overextended price move, we are normally awaiting for a pullback, and that may come over imminently. So Solana over the long term may still be undervalued, but we are, as I said, talking about the short and medium term time horizon. Thank you very much for sticking around. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about the Solana investment right now, and do you share my point of view. Thank you, and see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. ET time on the next live